going to stand together and fight this disease.
I come this way before, travel through the open door. Circumstances navigated the path, and life happened all so fast. No, it got lonely. Sometimes you see, I know we couldn't make it. Even when I'm off beat, I still land on my feet, and nothing can shake me, cause I know my time. I never. This is where I am destined to be. I'm not ready to give up. I believe in the miracle of life. Life's a play for no rehearsal. Learn quickly, they'll come for your role. Games we play, can't take it personal, cause the devil is a liar. I'm telling you the truth, hey. It's only what you do, hey. So things you gotta do,
Hey, what's up, man? Barbershop Conversations, man. Feel free to hit the subscribe button. So we got an early edition of the Barbershop, man. I appreciate everybody coming in. Lonnie, Miss Kyrie, what's up? What it do? Black Tree TV. Oh, man. What's up, KF? Rob, 65-year-old G. Appreciate you, Lewis Hinton. DB. What it do, Corey? Hey, Fred should have been a rapper. Federal 6, TB, Dream Cooking, Jay Good, Frederico, Puerto Rico, Hey, what's up, Bumpy T? We in here, man. I appreciate everybody coming in. Eric Taylor, man. Earl Taylor, excuse me. Aaron Parker, man. What's up? I appreciate y'all coming into the chat now, man. Y'all really been silent on me, but I'm glad y'all having the confidence to start talking in the chat. I appreciate y'all, man. Thank you for tuning in, and he'll be in about 15 minutes. And I figured I'll just open up a little bit early, you know what I mean? And just so we can debrief. I'm really excited about this interview. Like when I say I'm excited, I mean, you guys know I love history and getting first person accounts, man. This is going to be fun. It's just going to be Donald, man. What's up? Well, I appreciate you, man. Thank you, man. Oh, yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah. And don't forget, Craig Hodges has a book called The Long Shot. You know what I mean? We got to support that. And it's been out for a couple years now. So feel free to go check that out. And we're going to have a good time in here today, man. I'm thoroughly excited. I'm very excited. So yeah, man. So we in here today, man. Appreciate you, man. Well, we have a 13-hour commercial break. We had a 13-hour commercial break, man, and I'm excited for this interview, dog. I'm excited. I'm humbled to have him on, and I don't know how much time I'm gonna have him, so we just gonna go right into it. We going right into the deep water immediately, you know what I mean? And make sure when he comes in, we give him a standing ovation. You know what I mean? He deserves it, man. You know what I mean? The second biggest sacrifice probably you can make outside of giving your life, man, is giving up your livelihood for the betterment of the cause. You know what I mean? And I know a lot of y'all celebrate me for standing up to the system of boxing, because I only lost my credentials. You know what I mean? This man lost millions of dollars, man. And I mean, I've lost thousands of dollars. I haven't lost millions of dollars, but this man literally forgave, or was millions of dollars was taken away from him, you know, in 1992. And, you know, I'm coming off a championship and being as hot as fish grease, you know what I mean? And for doing what was right, you know? So it's excited, you know what I mean? So we in here, man. And it's gonna be electric in here, DB. So I appreciate everybody coming in here early. Hey, what they say in Chicago, vote early and vote often. Vote early and vote often, man. That's what they say in Chicago. So that's what I'm glad that's what y'all doing right now. So thank you. And like I said, I'm certain of how much time I have them in here. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna be able to open up the phone lines. All right, but don't hesitate to copy and paste your question a couple of times if I don't get it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So feel free. I don't take that personal at all. So feel free to go ahead and do that. Yeah, we all looked up to Craig Hodges, man. I didn't really know the magnitude of it, obviously, until I got out of high school and stuff like that. I was only 15, you know what I mean? And I remember the team picture. Obviously, as a kid, we saw the Bulls go to the White House. Um, but I didn't know the magnitude of it until I got older and older and older, you know what I mean? And things started to make sense to me. And you know, him in the African attire and him shooting the 3-point shots at the White House. I know y'all remember that. Uh, uh, I found that completely ironic that he was an asset at the White House. You know what I mean? But couldn't have been an asset to the NBA and the rest of the world in 1993. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's just what I say. So yeah, man, we in here, man. Yeah, or just yeah, send some Craig. Yeah, when Craig Hodges come on, send him some super chats, man. Make him feel good, man. You know what I mean? Tell him thank you, Big Dog Willie. How about y'all do that? You know what I mean? And you know what I mean, and then call your bank and refund it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But just acknowledge the man while he's living, man. We literally gonna give him his roses, man. And um yeah, man. And don't forget he has a book called The Long Shot. You know what I mean? Um, we all need to support it. And but yeah, I got a whole bunch of notes. I took a whole bunch of notes for this interview, front and back. So we're gonna try and get as much done as possible. we gonna try. So along with y'all interactions, man, this is pretty dope that y'all get to produce the show right with me in real time. You know what I mean? Instead of saying when people say, "Oh, just email me your ideas," I literally see y'all production. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Right in real time. You know what I mean? It's pretty dope. Oh man, it's my song, Big Dog Willie. I don't have a name for it yet though, but it's something I wrote. I co-wrote with a bunch of other people as well. So, but yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm excited, dog. So, hopefully everyone's having a great Sunday. Some of you guys are probably watching this in church right now. Oh, at the mosque. You know what I mean? I appreciate that too. You know what I mean? Some of you guys are on 88th in Vermont in the mosque right now, or somewhere in South Central LA. You know what I mean? At somebody's church, or South Central Detroit, South Central Harlem, wherever you at. I genuinely appreciate that. And so, but yeah, man, it's gonna be fun. So, what would y'all ask Craig Hodges? What's up, Champ Side in the building? Back in the building. Back in the building. What would y'all ask? What would y'all ask Craig Hodges? Just out the blue. That way we can get it out now. And I can write the questions down now. You know what I mean? What would y'all ask him? It's pretty dope that I'm actually gonna start doing this barbershop conversation. Appreciate you, Jeffrey. Yeah, man. It's for us, man. And it's pretty dope that I can do these interviews live. You know what I mean? It ain't no second takes. I like this, man. This is the last time I did this, like I'm talking about with just interview form, not like the barbershop that we do every night, was y'all was a great asset to me too, because y'all helped me with the Triple G's Abel Sanchez. Y'all, if some of y'all were subscribers to me then, and y'all was helping me with the Abel Sanchez interview in real time. That was pretty dope. You know what I mean? I thought that was pretty cool. So Yeah, man, it's pretty exciting. For the longest, you didn't want. I know. I remember that. I didn't, man. I didn't. I don't know why. Now I love it, dog. Now I'll be looking for. I'll be clearing my day for 9 o'clock every night, dog. Be clearing my day. Yeah, I mean, what's his perspective on voting? I actually have that written down. What's his perspective? Okay, that's why. And you know what? I actually forgot my pen. Let me go back and get my pen. I only like using a certain type of pen. Let me go get my pen real quick.
Give back, give love, give in such a way. Never give up, stand tall to fight another day. 2 toes, 2 feet, I stand on the ground. I'm going back soon and fight this final round. Life's a quick and no rehearsal. Learn quickly, they'll come for your blow. Can't take it personal. Cause the devil is a lie. Hey, I'm telling you the truth. Hey, it's all in what you do. Hey, some things you gotta do. Hey, 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 hey. I'm gonna share all that I have and give to those in need. So we're gonna win this battle, fight that disease. No more that's children leaving hearts that's young. We got to keep it open. Oh, no, I love you.
Cancer is killing, millions and millions of people. Me and my team, along with Sam Watson.
All right, I'm back. I appreciate everybody waiting. Hey, this is my favorite pen. So it's a soft ballpoint. So I was right. I was doing the work in the living room. So, but yeah, man, we in the son of a gun, man. So I appreciate y'all. It's Sunday, man. He'll be here any minute now. And yeah, man, what's popping, champ side? You working over there, man, spitting that truth. The realest over there, right? Hey, I love your unwavering confidence, dog. Period. You either fuck with me or you don't. This is the realest. I'm giving y'all some truth serum. You don't like it, too bad for you. Yeah, I mean, that shit is fantastic, right? Like the NBA, fantastic. Yeah, I mean, so but yeah, man. So about voting, yeah, we're asking about voting. Any other questions y'all want to ask them, just let me know. Yeah, man. Oh, yeah, you was brother from Chicago Heights. Yeah, that's dope, man. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we're gonna jump right into the deep water. Yeah, I mean, so I'm just Craig's a legend, dog. Craig's a legend to me. One of the best to ever do it. Shit. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so yeah, we're gonna ask about Cap. I have all that. I got that. And ask about time you got some on Chicago time. Uh-huh. Ask about time you got some on Chicago time. Help me out with that one. Help me out with that one, MH. Oh man. Yeah, man. This is just exciting. Yeah, we're gonna try and get a whole bunch of people, man. It's taking some work. I asked Craig what's his thoughts on. Oh yeah, Black Lives Matter movement. Yeah. Yeah, we can ask him about that for sure. For sure. I'll try and put all that stuff together. I'm gonna try and put all your questions in one. So don't think if I clump your question up because I'm unsure about the time. Okay, so I'll have to collaborate your questions with other people's questions and my questions so we can get as much in as possible. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, yeah. Champ Side, the baddest brand in the land for sure. Facts. You know what I mean? I like joking with him about that, but he is the baddest band on the land. Oh, always come on too late over here. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. But yeah, maybe on the weekends we can do an early show. You know what I mean? I don't know because I'm not traveling on Saturdays and Sundays, but you know what I mean. I don't travel, so I'm home now. I won't be traveling for boxing probably shit for another year. It looks like outside of Wilder. You know what I mean? Um, so yeah, I have that Mahmoud Abdul Rauf. I actually have that. I actually have that in my notes as well. Chris Jackson, formerly known, Mahmoud Abdul Rauf, formerly known as Chris Jackson. I would love to interview him as well. Yeah, Craig Hodges is so important. Yeah, so yeah, yeah, I'd be falling asleep. Yeah, yeah, man. I know, I understand. I get it. Yeah, respecting the game today. Yeah, yeah, I have that in my notes. I have all that in my notes. I have that one already. Uh, we need Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Yeah, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Craig Hodges. You know what I mean? Jim Brown at the time. You know what I mean? What's up, Drew? Don't forget, Drew, in 4 hours, exactly 4 hours from now, Drew Titan is going live, okay, with level 2 of the progress. You know what I mean? Level 2 of the progress. You know what I mean? So um yeah, man. It's important. So I woke up oh, you did. Yeah. Well, thank God, thank goodness you got the replay value. You know what I mean? So that's cool. You got the replay value. So you're Gucci. Let me cut my volume off. And yeah, man. We going to make this. Yeah, we gonna make this go viral. Why not? Make all of them go viral. Chop this up and yeah, another thing y'all can do, man, is chop my videos up and put it on your social medias, man. Chop it up, put it on your social media. When you call into the show, put it on your Facebook, put it on your Instagram. You know what I mean? Put it on your Twitter. Put it, you know what I mean? Send it to your friends in a text, Y'all are a very important part of this show. You know what I mean? So you know what I mean? And yeah, take ownership in it. Maya Moore. I met her a couple of times. Yeah, Maya Moore. Maya Moore. When I was, yeah, Maya Moore. But this is years ago when I met Maya Moore. Not anything recent. Yeah, that would be. Did she say she's not playing as well? I know there's a handful of WNBA players that said they're not playing, so that would be pretty dope. You know what I mean? And man, without further ado, man, the 4-time NBA champ, 3-time 3-point NBA champion, author of The Long Shot, Mr. 19 in a row, man. I appreciate you, Mr. Craig Hodges, man. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Mr. Hodges, man. Thank you so much.
Oh, I appreciate you, brother.
I genuinely appreciate you coming in this morning, man, and spending some time with us, man.
Oh, got the little one there, huh?
Yeah, I got my little one. Yeah. The toy room is next to my office, man. So he's gonna go back to the toy room and finish playing. Yeah. But I appreciate you, man. First, let's talk about your book, The Long Shot, before we go into the deep waters, man. So we can get people to get out and buy your book.
How you want to start? I'm with it.
Oh, you can't hear me? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now.
Okay, great. Talk about The Long Shot, the book, The Long Shot, and so we can get at the top of the interview, so people can go out and buy it because they're gonna go watch his interview.
Well, first of all, I want to thank God for giving us an opportunity to meet, brother, during these crazy times. And I hope everybody's well that's getting a chance to watch. And for me, getting a chance to write the book was something that I've always wanted to do. I love to write. It was something that I was taught before I was able to play basketball. So it was one of those things that's always been a passion of mine. And to get a chance to, look over some of the things that's happened in my life, especially with the basketball and how it ended, and some of the things as far as that were challenges within the context of it all, to write about it and share with people, man. So it's been a cool experience.
The Long Shot, man. Feel free, everyone, go out and get the book, The Long Shot, man. We just gonna jump right into the deep water. I don't know how long I have, but let's just jump into the deep water. I watched
Okay.
The Last Dance, and the one thing that bothered me, just based off visualization, was the long segment that they did on Steve Kerr and his family. When your mother was the secretary of the civil rights movement, your father was the mayor, and you was actually a teammate of Michael Jordan first, prior to Steve Kerr, and arguably his greatest teammate as a shooter. How did that make you feel? Or
Well, in some circles, for me, in the whole context of it all, and watching The Last Dance, it was entertaining. It was a chance for me to get a chance to relive some of the best parts of the game, which is the camaraderie and the competition of it all. But in actually watching how it was all put together, the timing of it coming out and all, it was somewhat disturbing. But it wasn't disturbing for me from not being in it and not being interviewed about it.
Mhm.
But it was just disturbing of how it could have been, to me, it could have been more of a unifying force as opposed to it being somewhat divisive. And as far as a lot of his teammates felt as though they were thrown under the bus,
Mhm.
and a lot of other people. So when Michael came out prior to it coming out, him saying that he knows a lot of people are not going to like him after it comes out, I can see why he would say that.
Mhm. Now,
But for me,
yeah,
personally, it was almost an honor, not to be in
gotcha.
it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's similar to when I was with the Lakers and I didn't get to go to the White House when everybody went to visit Barack. So it's kudos, man, where I'm sending that.
Yeah, we'll get back to that. But you mentioned teammate, and can you explain what type of teammate Michael Jordan was? And I'll preface this by saying uh, cocaine. Like I'm just going strictly off The Last Dance, right?
Right.
He talked about cocaine. Horace Grant didn't help out Pippen. By many accounts, he could have advocated for you in 1992. Can you capsulate Michael Jordan as a teammate?
Well, for me, and once again, when you get into the professional realm of things, it's almost an individual space that everybody respects.
Mhm.
And coming into the Bulls, I understood I had been 6 years into the league. So it wasn't new to me to understand where the superstars have their entourages and being able to be a good teammate. The main thing for me during that period of time was realizing what I brought to the table and being able to do that every day. And that's what I loved about playing against MJ every day. The level of competition was there day in and day out. And the fact that, we went through our ass whoopings with the Pistons, and we were able to come through and realize that what it took to actually build the chemistry. So when I look at the way that MJ is portrayed within the context of The Last Dance, it almost makes it look as though he was the coach, and
Mm.
that wasn't it at all. A lot of the disciplinary things that they talk about him on some of the different players, the buck stopped at Phil Jackson, man. And honestly, Phil would do his thing in games basically, but the coaching staffs that we had with the Bulls and with the Lakers had over 100 years of experience within the NBA besides Phil. So the level of respect that MJ had for the coaching staff didn't go noticed within that. That wasn't talked about within the context of how we won. You don't win without a system and being able to have players that can fit within that system and execute a game plan. And that's the part of me that's kind of left for the next generation of player. That are you trying to be an individual player within a team sport? And if that's the case, go run track, go swim, play some tennis or something. But within the context of how Michael was promoted and marketed by David Falk, and what they were doing was they made him an individual player, somewhat similar to how Tiger is. And Tiger rolled off of that. So when we look at the the branding of American sports and American sports icons, the model of Michael Jordan was actually it was brought about when we coming out of the Arthur Ashes, when we coming out of the tennis players and the golfers of the 60s and late in the early 70s, and he was able to capitalize on it. And I think the capitalization of Michael Jordan bled into our team to a degree where we understood that, you know, Michael would get on a roll and we would give him the pill. We didn't have to give him the ball, but we kept giving him the pill. We could have won on one-on-one or whatever, but we enhanced his visibility. We enhanced his platform to be Air Jordan. And I think some of that is left on the editing room floor.
Facts. What do you think? Okay, let me ask you this. One, do you think the NBA owes you reparations? And what are your thoughts on reparations for Black people today?
Well, first of all, and I think when we look at, let's start with the NBA.
Sure.
Mahmoud Abdul Rauf should get redressment for what he went through. What that will be, what it looks like, that all stands to, you know, that's arbitration or what have you. Same thing with my case. You know, one of the things when I look at this whole discussion of racism and that and the like, it never seems like they bring the people to the table who racism truly affected in the terms that people on a regular level could envision. Being that not able to earn a paycheck when you know that you're qualified, knowing that you're from Mahmoud, knowing that your spiritual beliefs hinder your ability to earn a living and have a legacy within what God gave you from a talent in. So when I look at this whole discussion with the NBA, they need to sit down with us and come to, that should be the starting point. Because for me, I know that now in the hindsight and studying Colin Kaepernick's case against the NFL, I saw the impact that his Players Association had within the conversation. Within our conversation, our players union was actually in collusion with ownership. So what I say the same thing today is that as I sit here and I watch billionaires as young African American men to use their talent, that's the first time in the history of the planet, man. Every other time it's been, this is what y'all going to do. Now it's a matter of we have a position and a platform to speak from and an opportunity to show the African American woman leadership. So it bothers me today when our brothers won't walk away from the game, but Maya Moore will. That a sister will lead the WNBA on top of the game and has the courage and the courage and conviction to know that she's part of a larger. And that's where the larger of us right now is controlled by ESPN, ABC, and Disney. And they have controlled this narrative to such a degree that they've marginalized us as a people. And when you do that, you leave a bitter taste in people's mouths. And what you're going to see right now is you're going to see there's an energy and a consciousness going on around the planet that's never been here. So those who are in control, and then when I say control, I'm talking about the NBA ownership right now. Those who are in control know that it's been white supremacy racism since the institution of the National Basketball Association. Now, you've come to realize that you cannot operate without us. Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier and in some effect broke the Black economy. I'm saying in this day and time, if those brothers don't go play in Orlando, and should the ownership or should the board of governors tear up the collective bargaining agreement, for the first time in history, we have the catbird seat in negotiating that 85% of the league is African American, and of the top 10 players, it's us. So economically, that's a force, but that ain't the real force. The real force is the African American woman, and that we have the opportunity right now to prove to our woman our worthiness to come back into the community as that vanguard for security, that vanguard to take the message out. But in fact, the messaging is coming from the sisterhood. It always has. You know, we look at our enslavement. We look at this reparations. They will never give us reparations. Let us stop that. Let us stop that. Let us stop the nonsense, because the nonsense is the fact that if you had to give it, you'd have to give it to you. Every nation on the face of the earth has to step to the table. And that is not reasonable to me, because I know it's not palatable to those who are white supremacists who control the 1% wealth in this nation and on the nations all over the face of the earth. So this is a special plea. We lost yesterday afternoon in the city of Chicago. A 20-month-old baby boy was shot. And that's what I write here. Shoot hoops, not people. You know what I'm saying, man? And at which point in time we're marching when the police are killing us, but we're not marching when our woman is feeling the pain of every murder that occurs. Every single one ventures back to her. And then we talk about reparations, but we can't talk about reparations until justice is done for those who are affected the most. And nobody's been affected the most by the policies of this nation than the sisters. You know what I'm saying? And in that, if we follow this thing closely, we see that when the talking heads in the media, when a Black woman, Sandra Bland, Breonna Taylor, they want to get that off the scene real quick. And then we as a people, we march like crazy when the brotherhoods, but we're not saying that the generational that comes from our woman is being so pushed to the side, that because they understand that if this happens, if the Black woman says that this is up, it's up. If they don't work, like we asking the brothers not to work, I ask sisters, what would happen in America? This is reason with me for a second.
Sure. What
happens in America? I know what happens in the city of Chicago if Black women don't go to work in Chicago. And we look for justice. We're looking for justice every day. However, I understand this is the factor of Black America, is that probably 65 to 75% of our household, all of the breadwinners are sisters. Now, how do we do this in a measure where we can have the family come back together? Because one of the things that they want to try to put on us is that this violence within our communities is pathological, when in fact it's institutional. And we don't want to get to the institutions that affect the death and murder and mayhem in my community. So for every murder, we should track down the weapon that committed it, whether it's illicit or whether it's licit. If it's a policeman that kills a Black man like Laquan McDonald, we need to go to that arms manufacturer and sue them for all that they're worth, because not that Black lives, see, this whole thing has been labeled down, taking a knee. Me too. Black Lives Matter. But the substance, the organization of it isn't existent. So everybody is energetic, but the energy is just one of reaction, response. I'm listening to Stephen A. Smith, and brother, this is why you're so critical to this whole thing. I'm a baby of the movement. One of our greatest poets was Gil Scott-Heron. Gil Scott-Heron tells us the revolution will not be televised. As we go through this thing, and we're not really realizing what our brotherhood is teaching us, but what he was teaching us is that it's going to be a different method of communication, that as this thing occurs, that it's not going to be you be able to turn on ABC, NBC, CNN, because within the context of this new generational of things, y'all ain't caring nothing about no CNN. Y'all just, man, you might want to see on CNN, did you sketch me in the march or something, but you ain't catching them for your information that's going to take you day to day and let you be able to clearly define who you are. And this is the first time in our history, brother, that we have the power to truly define where we are, who we are, where we're going. And that's one of the biggest things for me as a brother in America, having been blessed to study African history, knowing that we are African people. But we've been given all of these labels once again, and these labels divide us so that some brothers, I'm African, I'm a revolutionary. I'm a nationalist. I'm a Negro. I'm a capitalist in the utmost terms. But how do we come together as a family, man, when we talk about that pathological thing? They want to talk about our families, but you put us in prison, you kill us, and you tell us we can't be at the crib with our family, so we get welfare. Now, where you want to ask where our brothers at? We here, but now our here has to be in terms of those who have the positions to speak on behalf of us have to do it in a thoughtful manner that's going to affect generations. So as those, if one brother, if them brothers didn't go down there and play, and that's what's on the front burner, watch how quick, the more these brothers play, the less and less Black lives are going to matter. So we seeing it, and the cold part about this whole thing is how they unrolled the murder and death of Black people. So we get it a year later. We get it 2 years later. Oh, and see, that's the part, brother, that I'm asking sisters today and people of reason to think about why death and mayhem is in our communities at such a rate and who actually capitalizes off of
that. Now that you mentioned NBA players playing, that reinforces what Michael Jordan said: Republicans buy sneakers too. So that means white people watch NBA basketball too. I'm trying to create a parallel, but that's basically what they're saying is commerce means more important than integrity and culture.
Consider, I guarantee you, if somebody's playing hoop, somebody got a Confederate flag waving for their favorite black player. It's America, man. And see, America has been set up in such a way that it affects white people more than us, because you and I have had to go through their educational system. Sure. And if you emerge on the other side, quote unquote, successful, then you understand their system. They have not had to recognize us until now. For the first time in the history of this nation and the world, they had to take a stand. And, God is mysterious. So this COVID thing to put us in this whole quarantine where you got to go check it out now. Right. Now you got to check Black people out for the first time, like you never had to check them out before. And what you're seeing, especially white people, and then when I look at the younger generation of white people, what they're seeing is how ugly their ancestors were. How dastardly, what type of mind could come up with a system of, it's wild. We talk about human trafficking today, but we don't want to talk about human trafficking that built America. We don't want to talk about that human trafficking. We don't want to talk about the sex trafficking of plantation to plantation. I like that fine when you got in your house over here, master. Can you sell her to me? We're not talking about that. We don't want to talk about the historical relevance of those things that have shaped America's ways of thinking, that will put someone to think that they're superior to my children just because they have a certain privilege that was wicked, unrighteous, unjust in its foundation. And now we want to try to excise the cancer of white supremacy, racism, like it's a Band-Aid solution, when in fact you got to go to the root and cause of it to see how can it be systematically dismantled, like Dr. King left us the marching orders to do, as opposed to us continue to stabilize a system that is totally unjust to us, man. And the talking heads, Stephen A. has to be questioned, man. And I got to question him because he came at my family in a sideways manner that was not conducive to Black people. And I have a lot of friends who are white, and I don't think they appreciated the way that you came at me. So I've been asking everybody that I know from journalistic end, get that brother my number, because we have to talk. And at some point in time, it's going to come that we have to talk. And the advice that he's given to the masses of people is incorrect where our history is concerned. Because when we have, none of us are in any positions at all without the sacrifices of our ancestors who were under the whip, who was under the noose, who was under the slaughter and degradation from humanity. And now you sit there in your suit and tie under their banner, under their flag, under the flag of American Broadcasting Company. under the flag of Disney. Now, to show you how wild just to show you how they dismiss us from a critical thinking standpoint, they're going to put us in a fantasy land to reopen this thing. The vice president won't even go to Florida now. And we going down there. So my question is to the National Basketball Association and to America, what is it going to cost? What is the cost? What is the cost that we're not willing to step across the line? How many people have to die in the league before we see that, hey, man, is it really worth us going down here? And we know, and we're not really sure of where it's coming from, who has it. And now, you know what's so cold, old brother? Let me show you this. All them players that go down there got to put on this ring. Have you read that? Have you heard that?
No. Elaborate.
They have a ring that they've made up that you put this ring on your finger. This ring can tell you if you got coronavirus 72 hours in advance. It can tell you you're sleeping. It can tell you all of these things that are going on inside of you. And my question becomes, if it can, and once again, we realize that, oh, sorry about that. We realize that anything that can broadcast can receive. So if you sending out a signal from me, what can you put into me? What can you put into me? And am I astute at this day and time to realize that, brothers, why are they doing that? Why are they doing that? Once again, are we considering the fact that it was a Tuskegee experiment?
Oh, people don't want to go down that line. We're always the experiment, man. But you mentioned Stephen A. Smith, man, and his venomous tongue. Can you elaborate on like Stephen A. Smith's viewpoint? And part two to that, do you what's your opinion on Ahmad Rashad? Because he was basically the biographer of Michael Jordan, and him not taking a proactive cultural stance as it relates to connecting us from Ahmad Rashad to the culture. Feel free.
You know, man, look here. When we get to these certain levels, we become capitalists. We become capitalists. You're not black no more. You're not African American no more. You're a capitalist. And within the realm of capitalism, I have a universal approach to things. Universal approach to things is basically saying I ain't black no more. So when anybody comes to y'all and say, look, oh, you got to be more universal. No, you just telling me I can't love my people the way Italian Americans can love their people, the way Jewish Americans can love their people. And you notice what's so crazy, man? You have never heard of Jewish woman getting beat down in the street. You never heard of an Italian American getting beat down in the street, because as a unity of people, they're not going to allow the desecration of their actual life. You know what I'm saying? Where we are collateral damage to this whole thing, man. And that's the part that I love about this platform, is that now you can go directly to people.
Yes.
They can come and support it. So I tell people, Colin Kaepernick had the love of black women. You feel me? The love of black women. Yeah, brother gonna text every now and then. Brother gonna tweet every now and then. Instagram now. We gonna do that every now and then. But the force that you need to back up that movement that he had going was sisterhood. It was sisterhood that the NFL knew that wasn't watching football on Sundays. And I'm saying that just that little force should show us that it's something about us. It's something about us that is so beautiful and so majestic. And the return, you can see it right now. You can see, for me, I know that it's the return of the sisterhood to their righteous place that I found. See, we so flimsy in our leadership, Stephen A. That's flimsy. That's flimsy. When I sit down with my 8-year-old baby boy, what's going on, Noah? When I sit down with him and he can see through your vibration, he can see that something is wrong. What? And then you know what's so cold is when they had Terrell Owens on, and Terrell Owens told him, "Hey man, Max Kellerman blacker than you."
Blacker than you.
And man, Stephen A. went berserk. And I'm like, hey, my granddaddy told me if you throw a rock in a pack of dogs, the only one holler is the one that get hit. So if he's saying it and he ain't blacker than you, don't respond to it. But don't try to, I gotta set you straight because no, brother. See, I ain't gonna never have that problem. Ain't nobody ever gonna tell me John Paxson is more black than me. You know what I'm saying? That our colleagues, we know where we are culturally, man. So from my thing is that Stephen A. right now is one of the most visible African American speakers in America.
Mm.
Thus, you work for the American Broadcast Company. Now, if I start calling y'all out, Don Lemon, you feel me? All of y'all that work in those media circles. For instance, I love Al Sharpton for what he did, but I don't love Al Sharpton for what he did in that Comcast thing with my boy.
Yeah.
You follow me?
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's certain things that go on behind the scenes that my people aren't privy to. And that's the part of me that, you know, I was blessed, brother. We was blessed to be in the movement early. And that I can't compromise my position for a bowl of soup. You know, and that the organizational skills that we have to have now and that we have to possess now, LeBron James has it. It's visible. It's visible with with the platform that he's built for Maverick and the other brothers. So it's visible. Now, how do we continue this? Because the realization to me right now is that Adam Silver realizes the impact and power of Black people not for the first time. For the first time, he sees the galvanized strength of that.
Sure. And this is not the first time you've actually spoken out. You chronicle is very chronicled. You spoke to Magic. You spoke to MJ before Game 1 of the NBA Finals.
On 2 occasions.
Yeah.
I spoke to Magic on 2 occasions. And the first one was for the championship. Let's boycott. The second time was during that Donald Sterling garbage. Okay.
Now we had a chance right there. We had a chance, dog.
Now, stop right there. They roll out. I call them the palatable. Those who are palatable to white people, that's who you're gonna come out to speak to you're gonna bring them out to speak our issues to white people so that white people will be comfortable because they're comfortable with Magic Johnson. They're comfortable with Kevin Johnson. But you're not comfortable with somebody who has researched it and have studied under some of the best minds and has some of the best mentors, John Carlos, them type of brothers that help me see this thing for what it is and not get caught up into what they want you to think it is. See, we get caught up into the trinkets of it. The trinkets of it is not what we need to be teaching this next generation of athletes. We teaching this next generation of athlete right now to be as selfish capitalists. Don't leave nothing on the table. Don't leave nothing on the table. If we stop and we think that what would happen if Cassius Clay didn't leave money on the table? We wouldn't be sitting here today, brother, because we wouldn't have known Muhammad Ali. Because he would have took that position that Michael Jordan took as an individual, and I have no connection with my people. So, and that's the part that where, once again, everything that I speak on now, man, I'm speaking right now because it's about us supporting African American sisters, period. Now, we have Lori Lightfoot in Chicago right now. The president is rolling at her because of issues of violence. We got a Black police chief. You follow me? All of the things in Chicago is Black in power. All right? Damn near to the governor. Okay? Lieutenant governor, sister. So those positions of power now are transferring to Black women, not white men, not Black men. We had our chance. You see what we did to it. We are not in this position right now because no sister put us in this position. We are in this position because of white supremacy, racism, and the only person on the face of the earth that got the answer for it and the organization skills to do something about it is the African American sister here, and she, through her power, can transmit it to every other indigenous woman on the face of the earth, and that's the power that our sisters possess. And I appreciate it.
And you mentioned the governor, the mayor being Black, and you caught a lot of hell for giving the establishment the letter and wearing what you wore.
Right.
What would speak upon that, and then to end it, what would be in the letter if you got an opportunity to give Donald Trump a letter? What would be?
I would give him the same identical letter, brother. The same identical letter. And you know the wild part is that we study, and through our studies, the lessons are from our ancestors. The lessons are through our teachers. So there's nothing that I'm saying is brand new. Nothing that was in the letter was brand new. It was taken from the ancestors, given to me to deliver. That's all it was. And that me getting a chance to deliver it was so cool for me, man, that I'm getting this opportunity and ain't nobody gonna do this. I asked the brothers, we won our championship. We won our championship in June. We didn't go to the White House until October. In June, because the sister that hooked up the dashiki for me, Aniva, God, you know, and that she said she could hook it up for all of us. So I asked all the brothers, let's all wear dashiki.
Wow.
No, how that's you. And I'm saying just the spiritual of it, the spiritual of us putting on our original garment is important. And not only is it important, it's the right thing to do when you go into that type of affair that I went to, that I was going on behalf of my people. I was going in a respectful, cultural, and ancient manner. And that in that, I have to deliver this message on behalf of those who will never get a chance to come. So a lot of people just speculated. Nobody asked me what was in the letter. So when I'm gonna make sure you get one too. I'm gonna make sure Jabril gets you one. And I want to, so that people can see what's in the letter and see that I was speaking to the issues of poor people, disenfranchised people, people who feel like they're not part of this thing. And I want you to know that I'm from the projects in Chicago Heights. Never in my wildest dream, when I was going on the school ground to shoot jumpers, that I'm gonna get a chance to come to the White House. I was taught to write letters to our Congress people when I was a little boy, and it continued until I'm a grown man. So it was just a natural progression of things to be able to do it, and then to be able to do it in the manner with the best team on the planet at the time, and being perhaps the best shooter to ever play the game on that level. And then to be able to know that that don't mean jack. What really means something is to be able to stand on this truth of the hurt and pain of your people, and that you can do it in a manner that your mom taught you how to do it. That your mom taught you that when you get an opportunity, don't be afraid to speak up. You know, and I was taught, because I had a great support system and safety net, that I could speak my mind. I could speak my mind at the dinner table, and if I was out of whack, they was gonna shoot me down, not from a standpoint of shut your mouth, but show you how factually you so out of whack. You know what I'm saying? And that's one of the things that we have to reinstitute, is that Sunday dinner. That how can we got to get that back, because Dr. King taught us that the number one thing in the Vietnam War was the destruction of the Vietnam family, and that the destruction of the family unit is the number one way to destabilize any nation of people. And us as African American people who have been tried through all type of tribulations, now we are able to sit here as brothers and think on a critical manner on the issues of our people. Not about playing, not about dribbling, not about none of this, but what about us just stopping to think of what can we do? How can we be of support to one another, so that it's a unifying force, and it's not Craig is doing his thing, MJ is doing this thing. Oh, LeBron has a foundation. Oh, he has a foundation. But it's never a cohesive thing that is visible to the public, that there's a fund where we can put monies in every city, and we know that they're going to go to the things that they need to go to, man. So, you know, all of these conversations that are coming about, you, my brother Velad, my brother Rec TV, it's a lot of y'all, man, that are doing the thing that the way it needs to be done at this day and time, because it's a certain energy, man, that it's bigger than you, it's bigger than me. And I know you feel it. I know you feel it.
I'm on it, man.
And I'm telling people the feeling of it, brother. I put it in these terms of the feeling of it. That when we got beat by LA the very first game, all right, in 1991. And when we came off the court, you would have thought we had won. Because when we got to the locker room, we knew their best punch came in the first 3 quarters. And we gave the game away in the 4th. MJ missed free throws, whatever. We knew, oh, they done. So it was a certain palpable feeling that we know this is getting ready to go down, but we got to go to practice the next day. We got to go to shoot around in the morning before the game. Then we got to go to game and execute. And it's going to be the same thing for 3 more games. And that mindset of knowing that something powerful is getting ready to happen for our people, that I can feel it. But we have to be diligent and stay on task of not allowing our ancestors' work to go unnoticed, to know that the blood that was shed did not go without us appreciating. Not that we deserve any of this divine inheritance that's coming, but we appreciate what our ancestors sacrificed in ultimate sacrifice to get us a chance to be here in this crazy time to define it for ourselves, man.
Why do you think in critical moments Michael Jordan couldn't be black in the word black in its totality?
Brother, once again, capitalism rules, man. And did you know it's a certain passion, like what you're doing. It's a certain passion, like with just how smooth you are with it. You could go work for it. You could work for mainstream. I'm sure you could. I'm sure you got.
I turned down ESPN, by the way. I turned it down.
Yeah, those are moves, man. Those are moves. See, and what's so cold about it is that okay, you turn down ESPN, and then in your mind you got to create this whole thing for you.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? And that's the part that I feel like we as brothers got to be more courageous in that. We got to be more courageous, not to just fall into, well, the infrastructure is already set up over there, so let me just play a game. The only thing that the owners provide us is a place to play, man. That's all. They provide us a practice facility and an arena. We're not smart enough. We don't have black African American constructors, and we don't have finance people. We don't have bankers. We have aerial capital. We have all these type of things in us, and we can't do it for ourselves. But we got to have a product. So if the product ain't willing to dribble with us,
right.
But at the same time, man, it's a certain energy going on that we're gonna see, man. We're gonna see how that turns out down there in that bubble.
Speaking of the bubble, there was $100 million bubble that Michael Jordan laid out. And in my humble opinion, when I sat down and started thinking about it, I'm like, how come Craig Hodges is not in his think tank as a real? And have you spoken to Michael Jordan? And when was the last time you spoke? Because that $100 million that he's allocating, a great deal of that could use your brain trust.
In fact, it's a young brother here in Chicago that was he went to Nike back a couple years ago, and his proposal was a sustainable economic program within the west side of Chicago. And he went to them and told them that he needed 100 million.
Wow.
So it was funny that 100 million number comes out now. That's a good number. But one thing I say too, brother, that we get stuck on that sometimes. We get stuck on the monetary, but I guarantee you that it's the energy of our collective unity that's gonna bring any dollar amount we need. So I was part of the movement when I was a baby, man. And I saw us do without. We ain't have no wealth, but we weren't worried about the resources. We was getting together and we still marching downtown.
Yeah.
But before we marched, unlike today, we were taught a week before the march, this is how we gonna march. So if something goes down, children to the middle, women and men. You know what I'm saying? That it was a certain thing in a certain way that we went about this thing. It wasn't just, oh man, I'm hit your people and now we're gonna have a flash march. Nah, man, this thing has got to be thought out. And that's the part that, MJ, you look at it. You can't tell me critical thinking ain't going on from the other side. They told you, I think in episode number 1, David Falk ran it down to you. This is how we're going to create this Frankenstein monster over here that's going to make more money individually than every year. And you did it. And then you say, look out, this is what's going to happen from that. Every other black athlete is going to want to be like Mike. Now we got all y'all.
And that was the tag. If I could be like Mike.
Now let me show you something on the other side of that, on the flip side of that.
Yes.
How many multi-millionaires and billionaires came to the crib hearing their little white children say they want to be like a brother?
None.
So now you got the influx of your European champions, your European stars, so that now we have something that mirrors us, that now we can have and you can bring in foreign players, but you're not telling the people how much money the NBA puts into the regions with coaches, with resources, Nike, Adidas, all these fans.
Mhm.
It's a machine, man. And it's a machine that exploits us so many times, and that exploitation once again goes back to our woman, man. And we got to do better. We got to do better from a critical thinking end of supporting her, brother.
Has there been any contact or conversation with, because Rod Higgins is his right hand man? Is Rod Higgins still with Jordan, Mike, or
No,
Horace Grant? Oh, he's not.
I think Rod is down in Atlanta now as a GM.
Okay,
You
gotcha.
know, great brother, man. Great brother. Grew up with Rod, man. Grew up with Rod, and you know, and that's the thing, man. That these are, you know, it's certain paths that you have in life, brother. And you know, for me, I was put on this path when I was a baby. So when I went to the NBA, I haven't stopped. I haven't never not thought about black people, man. Since I was 18, I have not thought about. I have not. So I would go into an arena, and immediately I started to see. Look at this. Oh, there you can. And I would be. And so I would tell people. I say, man, if I just thought about hoop and just hooping, and not black folks like a lot of my brothers did, that are Hall of Famers and the like, man, you could average with the way I shot the ball and dribble. I could average 30, 35 if that was just the vein. It's just basketball, just basketball. No, I looked at basketball as the mind to get resources for my people and bring it back home. And that it wasn't never twisted for me. It was always black people in basketball, not basketball in black people. So a lot of my brothers, we say that, hey man, I'm gonna make this bread and then I'll check you when I come back after I get this and this. Now, when you get this and this whole system is how you gonna get 20 million and then come back to the crib and think that you're gonna live in the projects? You know what I'm saying? So it's a certain thing that as you're going through it, you got to be able to do those things as you're moving through it, because you're not gonna have that platform for lifetime. You're gonna have it 5, 10 years. Those who are exceptional, Vince Carter, 22 years. That's out of the realm, man. You know what I'm saying? So it's a blessing, brother. It's a blessing to have played, but it's more of a blessing to know that I'm in service to my people first. So, like with you call my son, hey brother, I'm with you. Let's set it up. And that's what I'm supposed to do. That's what I'm supposed to do. That's not you doing anything for me. That's me making sure. Because if I don't, man, creators say, Hodge, why didn't the brother ask you to do an interview? What was you doing on Sunday? You could hit him. And it's all of us, but we got people in between us to act as static, to act as, you know, I don't really want to do that interview with Brotherhood, but you know, can have my agent call it. He has. You follow me? So it's always that agency that's been in the middle of a lot of stuff too, man. So a lot of stuff that you see some of our supreme athletes and entertainers do and moves they make, they aren't their moves. They are moves that they have to make in order to maintain where they are in that certain stature. However, it ain't necessary, brother. It ain't necessary. Let's get that right. That is a certain way that you can still be with people and get your bread.
Fact.
Let's not. But let me share this with you.
Yes.
In order to be a billionaire in this current system, since it was instituted with the Bretton Woods Accord in 1944, when the American dollar overtook the British pound because Britain was being bombed to death. So now a whole financial system came to America. Now, all of that in a nutshell lets us know, brother, you and I, we the strength in this thing. Our energy, the current that flows through us creates the currency. It ain't the other way around.
Gotcha.
It ain't the other way around. But they got us twisted thinking that, once again, we've been taught this. Black labor, white wealth. My brother wrote that the last bastion of the plantation system was the NBA.
Wow.
And now the brothers had the chance to throw the yoke of that system off their necks and failed to do so.
Wow. And you mentioned reaching out to your brothers. There's a story that's circulating that you won the NBA championship, stole some hats and some shirts from the locker room and said, Jordan, give me your shirt. And you took it to the Midnight Basketball League.
Absolutely, brother. All day long. And you know it's so cool that the first time we won, we was in LA. The second time we won, we was in the shop. So me and my boys, they give everybody a box. But I'm like, man, I can't go to the projects with one box of this. It's gonna be a problem. So I got like everybody gave me one of their boxes. I got a box from Scotty, I got a box from Horace, and I got a box. I went and dropped them off to the brothers. It was one of the coolest times, man, because for me growing up here, I know how much the Bulls meant to the city, and especially when we were rolling through. MJ, Oprah, all of this is the perfect storm of black energy in one of the world's most important cities. And I realized that, that those brothers and sisters in the projects meant so much to us from an energy level that we didn't even know. So I was telling people when Toronto was playing Golden State, and I told them, I said, ain't no way Golden State gonna win. And people like, I was over in the Philippines at the time, and they like, what you mean? I'm like, when you have to realize that when you have a city that is totally committed to you and your team, it's gonna be hard if another city's team ain't got that backing. So when you have a whole country, Toronto had the whole country behind them. Ain't no way your little Oakland area gonna beat that energy. Now the players go, and then you got Kawhi Leonard, who's a beast, man. He's a beast.
Do you think Magic or Michael have any regrets for not listening to you?
No,
Wow.
no. Why should they? You know what I'm saying? And see, my thing is this: is that okay? Once again, we talk about passion and what your drive is and what your goal are. If your goal, and that's the point that I was gonna make, if your goal is to be a billionaire, so you left the game competing on that level. Now you go into the business world competing on that level to be the top businessman or whatever. In order to be a billionaire in this system and what we were talking about earlier, you have to step on people, man.
Jesus.
You got to step on people. Show me a billionaire that ain't stepped on folks. They lying. They lying. Because one of the fundamental principle of this thing is that honestly, $1 million is enough for any one individual in their generation. But they want to make us think of this fallacy that it's going to be, we need 100 million. Nah, brother, we just need unity. The money going to take care of itself, because when we get 10,000 black people together, somebody going to come sponsor us for some bread.
Gotcha.
So it's what we want to do, brother. It's up to us now. It's clarity. It's right there in front of us. Now it's a matter of what we choose. You, me, next man. What do we choose our purpose to be? Is our purpose the lives and of the next generation, and that we're willing to put whatever we need to put into this? Or am I going to be a capitalist? And it ain't no gray area for me. It ain't none. So I see when they roll out Charles Barkley, go play. They roll out Stephen A. They roll out all these people who else? Jalen Rose.
Cat Perkins.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But look at that. Look who y'all getting your paychecks from. You're getting your paycheck. And see, and let me share something with everybody sitting there. It ain't just a paycheck. You know what it is? The notoriety, the autographs. They still getting autograph seekers. They still getting pub. But where are you standing on the truth and history of your people? You're not standing there now, brothers. Y'all ain't standing there. Y'all standing with people who have oppressed your people and been able to multiply that into conglomerates. And many of those conglomerates are the sponsors for many of these ESPN programs, ABC programs, Disney programs. Go into the history of Disney, fair people, and take a deep look into Disney. Take a deep look into American Broadcasting Company and their position in the destabilization of other African nations in their time when they go on reporting stuff that ain't the truth. So Trump called it fake news. It ain't just Trump calling it fake. It's been fake to us for a long time, and we've had to deal with the numbers when y'all telling us these numbers and it ain't those numbers. So we've had to deal with the fact of how you pit us one against the other. Like right now, those who want to play, those who don't want to play. But let me show you how cool God is. God gave these brothers a garage door to walk through. You got COVID over here. You got them killing black people over here. Ain't no way. No, check this out. Once again, let's go to Jewish Americans. Let's go to Italian Americans. If the same thing were happening to either one of those sectors of this country, they would not be playing basketball right now. And if I'm wrong, I stand on being wrong. But just in studying their history, it ain't going down like that. It's not. It's not. We are the only people that they kill. Check this out. Even on a Mexican level, they are more together to know that we can get some of them that are gang members, but because they got a certain tightness about it, man. And we lost that when you start to murder our leadership. When our leadership was murdered during the 60s, now you left us willy-nilly in this old gang concept thing where now we out here with these weapons like baby boy that got murdered yesterday, man. That's one of the things that's hurting me today to this very moment is that how do we, me and you, make it that later for anybody else, but within our family, that we got to quit killing each other. And then once we quit doing it, then we going to see other people. Ain't no way, because if we stop it, then we got a blanket that ain't nobody else damn sure ain't going to do it. That's how we was in the 60s. We had organizations around us. Me and a sister was talking yesterday, and she was saying that the building that she was in, it was their family that had her grandfather, her father, and her uncle. The building next to her, the same thing on both sides. And then across the street. I grew up in the projects. Projects ain't supposed to be the one of the worst places in the world. But every building, when I grew up, every house had a man in it. Total different concept today, that the man is out of the equation. And now how do we appeal to sisters to say, okay, brothers, we need y'all back. This is the program. This is the program. Our job is nothing but to take the program that the sister give us now, brother. It ain't for us to talk about no leadership. That word is so funny to me. That leadership, what is that? That's something that somebody gave you so that they could kill you.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? When you talk about leadership, they talk about congressional leadership. They ain't putting no one person out there to be murdered. You know what I'm saying? But we stand up our leaders just so you can wipe them out, chop them out. And then now it's to a point where you getting some of our best and brightest while they in a car at 20 months, man. You feel me, brother? That this pain, it's beyond pain, man. I'm asking us, what can I do? How can I help? I know that something got to be done. I'm asking sisters, how can I help y'all? Because y'all got the power now. I know that it's 1,000 year cycle and it's y'all cycle, and I ain't gonna fight it. But where we at? Where are we at, brother? Me and you. Where are we at? To be able to ask these brothers, why y'all going to hoop? Because now when y'all go to hoop, the sisters looking at us as weak. The sisters looking at us, we ain't gonna stand up against these cats right now, knowing that look how they did McMove. Look how they did Hodge. We stood on that for Colin Kaepernick. We stood on that. And he got his bread. And I love that brother for what he's doing. But let's bring some home too. Let's bring it home, because we know that in the city of Chicago, $1 million can stop some things. It ain't gonna take no 100 million, but you can put the 100 million over there and let us roll with it. But let us know that it's about us having a unity of purpose in our mind. That when I see you, I'm respecting you for the life that you can, the potential that you could be. That's what I loved about Kobe Bryant, man. And I was telling somebody, Lord rest his soul, that I would have loved to see his position right now in this. What would his leadership have meant during this time? Would the NBA players have gone back if Kobe was here? Because Kobe was with Colin Kaepernick taking a knee. So would he have been with us going back to play under the climate of health and social health and wellness? It's a combination. We look at it, man, it's all about how can we make sure that we are divided. That's what the whole thing is. How can we divide them? And we have those talking heads that help them in promoting.
Yeah. To add to that point, at one point, Kobe Bryant wore a shirt that said "I can't breathe" in the warm up. So I'm very interested to know how Kobe would have responded. And
No question.
and you actually mentioned leadership, congressional leadership. What should blacks do November 3rd?
Once again, I look at it like this, brother. We have great leadership on the local level.
Mm-hmm.
Our national leadership is shabby at best.
Mm-hmm.
And I put it like that because I don't see any effect of it. I don't see it. I'm right here in Chicago. I don't see the effect of it. I may be wrong but my thing is that as long as we got to vote, we're voting in a crooked system, first of all. So how can we expect us to get righteous justice in a system that is crooked from the bottom to the top? And now we want to say voting counts. Okay, prove it to me. Prove it to me. Prove it to me. Now, many gonna say judges, all of that. I got that. But get this at me. Get this to me. If you are on a police force today, how many police forces know the history of the police in America?
Yeah.
If you don't know the history of police in America, you won't know the nature of policing.
Right.
So we know the nature of policing is that they were slave catchers first.
Bro.
And if you are a slave catcher then, and now in this mindset with your bullets and your 9mm and your bulletproof vest, and when you see you or me, you see a slave. So now you have to catch him. You have to catch her. The first SWAT team was the Tubman group, who chased Harriet Tubman because they had to find all the best slave catchers to track that sister down, and you never could do it. So we don't know the history of the local thing, let alone the national part of it. So let alone we talking about, see, look here, brother. If we want to do something on November 3rd, we get together and we hold our votes. Everybody gonna register, but we holding them. We holding them until y'all get right. And can't no election in America go down without black people. Period. And check this out, sisters. Once again, if y'all take the move and say, "Oh, you know what? No justice, no peace." No justice, no vote. Now, when I say no vote, I ain't saying no register. I'm just saying no vote. Because let us look at it. Joe Biden and Donald Trump. Hillary Clinton. Look at her.
Come on, man.
We ain't looking into it. We with the emotion. Democrat. Man, they pimped us. The Clintons, Joe Biden, y'all wrote the worst bill for my people. Damn near. Shit. Excuse my French, but hey, you know what I'm saying, man? It's the reality of the political system for black people. Tupac said, "Hey, let's form our own political party." $10 million to do it. LeBron certainly has that. Every player in the league damn near got that. The starting salary now is $900,000. I came in the league at 40. You feel me? Yeah. So we talk about this thing, man, and it becomes a choice between money and human rights. Voting and human rights. If every one of us vote, are we gonna get, does that ensure us reparations? Does that ensure just observation of my human rights even in America? No. Can't nobody tell me as a 60-year-old, now my birthday was yesterday.
Thank you. Happy birthday.
Today, as I sit here, you can't tell me in my 59-year watching and knowing for 50 of them, this is crooked. We knew that. We knew it was crooked when I'm in Chicago Heights and they tell me I got to be back on the other side of the tracks before 6 o'clock. And we not knowing as little kids, yeah, if you're not on the other side of the tracks, you might get stoned. You might get beat down by white folks. That's a crazy way to grow up under, man. And then somebody to tell me at this damn time, I know the power of the vote. I know the power of it. But let me ask you something. What was one of the brothers that said, "Give me liberty or give me death," right? But now we have to education. We ain't never talk about, is the vote gonna give me liberty? Is the vote gonna give me justice? Is the vote gonna give me truth? This vote, and then it becomes a thing that, okay, if I vote for Joe Biden, I'm voting for a lie. If I vote for Donald Trump, I'm voting for a liar.
Damn.
But I'm supposed to tell my people to do that. Yeah, because that's how we've been programmed. The total dismantling of racism, got to come from. Are you looking at DC? Look at it. Why they call it the White House? Right there. Let's start right there. Let's start right there. White people. Why is it called White House? But you don't know that. You don't. How many of us know about the Peace and Friendship Treaty with Morocco? That is the longest treaty on the face of the earth today. That's the only way the United States got its charter, was from black people. From black people. But we don't want to accept. We don't want to accept us in this day and time. See, check this out, brother. In doing your research, I see you writing down there. When they say George Washington chopped down the cherry tree, go look at the flag of Morocco at the time. It was the cherry tree on the white flag. Okay, so it's a lot of this thing, man, that my people need to know, the world needs to know, and it's coming. So you can watch. Just you know that your knowledge and information isn't coming from this traditional base that they've given you as the programming tool. You on a higher plane, and just your vibrational plane is going to bring you information, and you know for yourself how it happened. That you ask for one thing, now here come a whole litany.
You're right.
So much so that you're gonna have to stay up for 3 more days just to research your initial point, because you then came up with 50 more that piqued your interest. Like, man, this is mind blowing. And that's the beauty. That's the beauty of, and I'm teaching, when I teach my young folks about words, and I love words. So when we look at the word knowledge, it's 2 in there. Knowledge. You follow me? So when we're studying, it ain't no drop off. It ain't no ledge. That's why we say keep your head up, because when you drop your head, ain't no thoughts down there. Ain't nothing down there. It's up here. It's wondrous. It's so much that now when I lift my head, oh man, I can make it another day, because now, I see something different. Down there, I wasn't seeing nothing but despair, hurt, pain, emptiness, poorness. Now when I raise my head, I see a brother like you out there doing something. Hey man, I got a little skill too. I might be able to go over and teach some children some basketball. You know what? I don't hoop no more. Come on, young brother, you coming from college. Come on, let me give you this triangle information. Now you can be a coach for the rest of your life. And that's where we are right now, man. This thing is so cool for me, because like I told you, we get ready to win the championship. The murder and mayhem is a sadness factor, but I know within that sadness is the energy that the Creator is bringing to change this whole thing. So you saw, I don't know if your people saw the dust storm that left the Sahara, and it's floating the same way as the slave ships. And right now it's impacting Texas and all of the southeastern area. Get a chance, check it out. And that's the same path that all the hurricanes take. And all that's coming off. That's all of those are symbols to let the world know what was done to us, why it was done to us. And now the restitution of African people to who they were once anciently is now, the world got to fess up to it, and it's so hard for them. Consider this. Let me ask you something.
Yes.
In your last 2 or 3 weeks, have you felt the difference of how Anglo people approach you?
Very much so. Very much so. Very much so. It's eye-opening, because I live in Baldwin Hills, and so now it's an influx, and it's like a combination of fear and gratitude, or like holier than thou. You know what I mean?
And it's this too. It's that, like you say, the fearful part is, damn, if I was you, I'll be killing my ass. That's like, for real. When they look at you, they be like, how can you be cool with me when you know what my great granddaddy did to your great grandmama?
Facts.
You follow me?
Yes.
So that whole reality of now you seeing a certain, man, they went through some shit.
Yeah.
Man. So I gotta bend over backwards now to let them know that I ain't like that. And that's cool. That's cool. But I say, y'all ain't got to work so hard. Just be.
Yeah.
Just be.
Yeah, you mentioned Chicago quite a few times, and you just got off of politics. I'll be remiss if I didn't ask you about Ron Emanuel and President Obama.
What about him?
I'm asking you, what about him?
You know the wild part is, hey man, that's so far from my thought process, brother. On the real, man. Because we see it for what it is, man. You know, and a lot of black people thought Barack was gonna be the cure all, end all for my people.
Mm-hmm.
And it is what it is, man. It's, you know, I've got to do what I got to do on this local level, man.
Mm-hmm.
Rahm Emanuel, that's a whole nother animal. That's a whole nother animal, man. Because once again, when you deprive a people of their human rights,
Mm-hmm.
when you deprive a people of the opportunity to reach their full potential, when you deprive a people through resource allocation, now you weaponize your dollar to my community. So now, as I watched the structure, when Harold Washington said there'd never be another white mayor in the city, how powerful that was to know, yeah, it will be. Watch what you say, because the power structure in Chicago, brother, Dr. King came to Chicago and said, this is the most virulent racism he ever met. He's come from the deep south, bro. You feel me? And that's in Marquette Park. So Chicago is so critical. That's why I don't know if you noticed, Donald Trump just sent a letter to Lori Lightfoot.
I actually just read it this morning. Yeah.
And now, prior to that, whenever they would have their little White House briefing, he would never mention Chicago, even though we were spiking in cases. Okay? Because he realizes that his Trump Tower is in Chicago. And he know these brothers here, we're a different breed in Chicago at times when we need to be. You feel me? When we're not anesthetized. We're not when we're you feel me? Okay? But Barack Obama had an opportunity to do a lot of stuff, man. A lot of great stuff. He did some great things. Number one thing I say he did, he gave everybody some health care. That was, you know what I'm saying? That impacted me from him because it impacted one of my sons, and he got good, cool. Appreciate that. But some of your other stuff, brother, some of the drone strikes, you feel me? Some of the murder and mayhem that you had to do because you are commander in chief.
Gaddafi.
And that, you feel me? You feel me? Now, if you study that, and if you look at where the world is today, the world is getting ready to do what Gaddafi was talking about. You feel me? And that why is human rights among African people such an issue? And those who are in the Western powers, they want to continue and perpetuate this image of it's a pathological, it's something in their gene pool that they got a worm in their brain, and it's something in their brain that just it don't click. And you know, when I was hooping, man, how many times you hear white racist coaches say, "Oh, a player, he don't think." Throwing a little jab, throwing a little racist jab, and until people know the true history of the planet, man, and the history of what we brought to it, that we didn't, you know, you taught me from a young age that nothing but slavery. The history books that you were a slave, you weren't nothing else, you were a slave. And then you stop and you think how cold that is, that you tell people they slaves for that long and don't allow them to read anything but a Bible, and that Bible teaches them that they've been cursed. Wow. And the whole world, the whole entirety of the planet Earth has been vibing on that. That black is a curse. Black, since you cursed, that's why it was cool for you to be a slave.
And some may say, go ahead.
And see the cool part, if you don't go to higher education to study the critical part of this thing, then you're not gonna get it. We could have got this information we talked about, brother. We are sharp enough to get this at 5th grade. financial literacy. We could have got that. Man, come on. Rich dad, poor dad. It's a teaching. It's a method. It's a method to it. It's a method to the madness. For instance, if we were insured, if our children were insured, we wouldn't be getting murdered like this, because insurance companies would have to be paying some dividends.
Facts.
But we not insured to the hilt like that.
Mm.
So it's a lot of this whole cycle, this cycle of viciousness that goes on. Somebody is making bread. Somebody is making bread. So in the city of Chicago, somebody making bread when it's easier for you to get a gun than a head of lettuce. You're in a food desert. I'm in a food desert, but I'm not in a desert for weaponry. You know, I'm not in a desert for the most illicit drugs you can get anywhere on the planet. But I don't import none of this garbage. And see, that's why I say, man, we got to get to the point where we start to go after the root of these things. You know, the National Rifle Association, later for them. Let's go to Winchester. Let's go to the people who make these guns, that if anybody we know that got murdered by these guns, let's start to find out what gun actually killed them, and let's get the manufacturer of it, and let's start going after them, man, because in this old capitalist system, they only recognize bread, man. That's all they recognize, and it's from money. And then when I think about our players, we had the opportunity to take that role once again as the Warriors, Mansa Musa, Hannibal. You know, you got a chance to in America to actually stand on something and not be afraid. Mm-hmm. And this one of the only times we had a chance to change America, and really have a chance to change America without guns, without weapons, without even the notion of it. All we got to do is stand strong on truth. Period. That this whole thing of, man, I'm getting ready to go give me an AR. I'm getting ready to go get my 9. Who you gonna shoot? Who you gonna shoot? Who you gonna shoot? Who you gonna shoot, gangbanger? Because see, real deal is this, is that you go get a gun, they bringing in tanks now, bro. They got tanks in the city of Chicago with the National Guard. I done seen them. And it gassed me because people been telling, yeah, man, National Guard here. I had to see it for myself. And when I seen it, I said, I started clapping, because I know there are signs. There are signs of our rise. And that's a sign of our rise, that now your system is falling under its own weight. And I ain't got nothing to do with it. I ain't got no power. And that's why it's funny when people say, oh, you're a racist. How could I be a racist? I don't affect nobody's life. I don't write nobody's check but my son's. I ain't write no. So how can I affect you, white person? But through your privilege alone, you can affect me. Through privilege alone, you can affect me and my children. You can, through your privilege and power, you can have a college scandal that your children dumb as rocks. They shouldn't be going to USC. Send them to junior college. You know what I'm saying? But you got the bread and the power to say, my might makes me right. Wrong answer.
What would you change would you change your approach into navigating what you actually wanted from the athletes, knowing that?
Well, when you say, you know, man, once again, you are who you are. And at this point in my life, brother, I'm standing on this truth. I'm standing on this truth of my ancestors and what the cost that they paid, that I could stand there and speak on their behalf. And we got decisions to make. Ain't nobody got it, but I'm telling you, the sisters got it. So it don't matter what I think, bro. It don't, not at all. What matters in me is how can I support them and get my sons to realize that, hey, brothers, yeah, we might be the strength, but we're not the most brilliant people on the planet. Is the sisters, right? They got more education than everybody on the planet. So why can't we use it?
Since George Floyd, is George Floyd remind you of MLK murder, or is it on another level?
I think it's for me, like you were saying, that's the only palpable connection I can make during the historical continuum, is that the energy that was felt after Dr. King's murder is similar to this. You know what I'm saying? And that people didn't stop. It was something has to move. Something has to And that's how this is. And I think so much of this is that the COVID virus had so much of a impact on people having to be inside, people having a chance to reflect on what's real, people having a chance to say, okay, I haven't looked at this deep enough. Now I have time to look at it deep enough. And then the government dropped people a couple bones, and now I got even more of a chance to stay here and think about things. And that whole level of energy found itself all around the world, man. So where you got 18 countries, you know, protesting. You got all white nations protesting for Black Lives Matter. That man, some of that, when I looked at that, I was like, come on. If we don't see it, if we don't see them signs, that this, and see, that's the cool part. The cool part is that when we allow ourselves to get out of the way, stay in a place where you're not allowing what you see, what you hear, but you're allowing yourself to feel what balance is, and not get out of whack by anything that's going on around you that you really ain't got control over. And that's the biggest thing, is that we got control over what we have control over. All the rest is a spiritual happening. And you try to be in the right spirit of things so that you won't make that decision that's going to cost our people another 10 years or another 20 years, another 40 years. Like this decision right now, I think this put us back some, bro.
Yeah. Would you mind taking 1 or 2 phone calls? You got a lot of fans in here. Okay, no problem. Got you. All right, ask your question. They're gonna filibuster. Ask your question, because these phone lines about to go off. Okay, ask your question to get straight to it, man. And one of the hot questions that people asked earlier, so feel free to call in. The phone lines are, and don't forget, go get the long shot. Go get the long shot. And we're gonna give away a couple of his books on my channel. I'm gonna get a couple of his books. I'm gonna buy a couple, and we're gonna give them away on this channel. The phone lines are open all the time. Have you spoken to Mahmoud Abdul Rauf?
Yeah, in fact, spoke to him 3 days ago. Yeah,
wow.
we did a podcast 2 weeks ago. Together? And it's crazy. It's crazy that he and I first met. The first time we met was at the 3-on-3, the Big Three with Ice Cube's thing here in Chicago. We had never met. And it was like when we met, man, it was brotherhood from like we have known each other for years, man. And for me, I applaud that brother, man, for being able to take the heat, being able to know that regardless to whatever is happening, I'm in a spiritual place where I know that I'm right being where I'm at. And, you know, intellect is off the chain. And that's the part that I appreciate, you know, the studies that he's put in and sacrifice that he made, man. That brother was on the cusp of putting up some big numbers that could have been historic.
Oh, extremely. I mean, he could have been probably a Hall of Famer.
Oh, no question.
Yeah,
no question.
What would you change about the NBA now in terms of corporate?
We have to change. It has to be deconstructed and reconstructed. It has to be reconstructed with the ownership reflective of the makeup of the racial makeup of the league, man. That I feel like when you have any of the guys who are making 100 million or more for your franchise should have ownership. And that within the context of that, I think, you know, I was speaking to Scottie Pippen about this issue. And he was saying he brought that to my mind, that, you know, until ownership has a different approach, then the game is not going to filter down. And I think that's one of the things that it has to be deconstructed and reconstructed in a way where it's fair and it's a true partnership, not just one that's spoken about in artificial terms, like, you know, when you say, oh, the players union and our players, when you're the commissioner, our players. Come on, man. Now let's get real about this thing, that, you know, let's sit down and make it a fair and equitable situation, and you can do it. You know, a billionaire is not going to hurt if you change the foundational base of how this thing looks and, you know, the racial makeup of it. And if you don't want to do it that way, then I feel like we can always create our own. I feel like, when you have 80%, 80 to 85% of the league, like Kyrie put forth, you got an opportunity to create jobs. Those jobs that are within the United Center, that are within the Staples Center. You're able to create some jobs for yourself now, possibly that can rival that. So it's a toss up. You can look at it how you want to look at it and have your opinion about it, but it reflects on us as a mature people now of what we're going to do as a unit, not any individual. And it gasses me how, I don't like the fact that LeBron has been put in this situation that he has to almost be the spokesperson for the black populace. You know what I'm saying? And that he ain't old enough for one. You know what I'm saying? When you got somebody like John Carlos sitting somewhere and he can handle this for us. Him and Dr. Tommy Smith, they can give us what we need to be able to have a real genuine holistic approach to how this thing can roll out. Good, not just for you, but for the entirety of America and the world, man. Because now, the athlete is such a phenomena that it carries imagery worldwide, like we saw with the NBA and China thing one day.
Gotcha. We got our first phone call, 562. What's up?
Shout out to my brother Craig, this Duke from the LB.
Peace. What's up, good brother? How the boys doing, man?
They're good, man. They just asked about you. All good.
That's beautiful.
Good, man. Good.
Look, man, real fast. Racism, Christianity, and white supremacy has affected our people, Craig. Speak on that a little bit, man, how we've been thrown off track with that book you just spoke on the Bible. And I'm going to leave it at that.
Appreciate you, brother. Tell the family I said what's up, man. Everybody,
your boys,
Right.
Appreciate you, Duke. Thank you, brother.
Yeah. And so, okay, when we look at Christianity, slavery, racism, we have to go like to 1400 before you will find the first image of a white spiritual being. And that was with Michelangelo and what he was doing. So a lot of the history has been shaped and parsed in a way where white is right. My son was equating it to a rap artist, and that King James just was the bomb at the time. So he was the coldest rapper. So we go with King James thing. It's one of the things where this whole historical, the Jesus piece, when we look at that, when we look at the imagery that was burned into our minds as young men. I remember my household, it was growing up in probably every household during the early 60s and 70s, you had three people on the wall. You had John F. Kennedy, you had Jesus, and you had Dr. King. And it was that triunion that was there, but at the same time, you had that larger focus that was the Jesus, and that the hair was blonde or brown, eyes brown. He didn't look nothing like me, but it was over me. And him being over me had a certain power, every time I walked by and looked at it. Man, what did I do? And I want to go to hell. And now, and those images are fired into us so heavy as young people that if you don't get a chance, like me, I was blessed to have had, the Christianity, the Baptist background with my granny. But at the same time, when I went to school at Long Beach State, I had a chance to see Black religion and how and the effect of Black nationalism and revolutionaries from around the world, and seeing the historical aspect of religion and how what was taught in Egypt and how it was broken down into biblical sense and how all of these things tied together. So like Brother Duke is saying, that the God factor in racism is so prevalent that if Jesus looks like the CEO of a company, then the CEO got power. You know what I'm saying? If the Jesus piece is that everybody that looked like him is better than me, and that's the way we was taught, is that divine was white, divinity was whiteness, and that all of the imagery of beauty and everything else, the beauty, like John Wayne was the beholder of strength and power and privilege. And we hated the Indians when it was when the Cowboys and Indians was throwing down. Man, we wanted all the red men to be wiped out, not knowing that that's us.
Facts. Big fact.
It's just a layered on effect, man, and that layer, we have to peel back those layers to be able to give our children the true perspective that God and righteousness beholding in you. That if you read it and read it where it is you, that if the Creator created you in His image, then you are it. You are it. That you don't have to look outside, and you shouldn't. You are who you are, and you can feel good about that. You can have great potential in that, and out of that, and one of the biggest parts, man, if we look into the historical aspect of Christianity, and we see how all of the saints, we need to study that with our children, and look at where the African influence in religion, in culture, worldwide. You know, when you look at what happened with the Moorish Empire in Spain, and how they brought mathematics and the like to Europe. Man, it's so much within it that is us, and that we are the spiritual, we are the book incarnate, but it's so much in them books that has been miscued to make it look like the book is not about us, it's about somebody else.
Gotcha. We got another call from 337. What's up?
Hey, salute to Barbershop Conversations. It's a real rap.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, salute to the brother Craig Hodges.
Appreciate you, brother.
Yes, sir. Hey, Craig Hodges, I got a two-part question, big dog. The first part was about Kyrie. I wanted to ask, like, how'd you feel about him? It was a quote that I wanted to read from him. It says, "It's time we take all our native, indigenous, Black culture, business, ideas to a new place as a collective and protect it, just like other cultures have done. Build our own. It's clear white supremacy and corporations use us native, indigenous, Black folk when it's beneficial for their agenda and pockets. To be aware of the truth in plain sight, family. How are we going to break these generational curses that have been put on us purposely to kill us and our families off, taking our land and culture back? Our ancestors are watching and protecting us now more than ever. This is for our future's kids, and we're the generation that will change this."
Yes, sir. Amen. Amen, brother. That's a prayer, brother. That's a prayer for me, because it shows how, you know, man, it's certain words that you can put together in such a way that makes it that a person that who's ever reading it or who's ever receiving it can feel the energy in it. And that the way he put that together lets me know from where I sit that it's bigger than him, and that this message is coming through him. And sometimes these messages come through you and they bigger than you. And if you are conscious, and if you tap into that spirit, it's gonna capture you. And that's where he is now. And it's beautiful to see that, you know, young brother is feeling the pain of the ancestors, and he's not gonna allow his being to be utilized in any other way other than bringing that into reality, man. And I applaud him for it. And brother Kyrie, if you're listening, brother, hey, hit me up, and I'm gonna reach out for you anyway.
Dope. You had the second part, or
yeah, like the second part was like the famous 3-point contest. I wanted to ask, like, the type of zone that you were in. I was wondering if you could expound on, you know, like the type of focus that it takes to get to that level. You know what I'm saying? Like, to be able to make 24 straight 3-point shots. Like, that's a crazy.
You know, one of the things, brother, is like, when we look at it, for me, I was blessed to learn shooting from my uncles at an early age, and I worked on it. Now, when I lost the first competition, I think I lost the first 4 or whatever. And my mindset during those first ones was I was in a shooting competition, and I put pressure on myself that was an illusion. The 3 that I won in a row, and especially the one that I made 19 in a row, I went into it with the mindset of a game mentality. That when we got to All-Star Weekend, I went to my room. I had my family. They weren't with me. I took it as I was going into a game, but in this game, all I had to do was shoot the ball. I didn't have to chase Isaiah down. I didn't have to guard Benny Johnson. All I had to do was just catch it and shoot it. So in my mind, every time I lifted it off the rack, I was catching a pass and going into my rhythm of it. And for me, at that point in time, the 19 in a row that I speak of in 1991, I believe it was, Cliff Levingston, who my boy, he was my hype man. And the whole time leading up to it, he's like, yeah, Hodge, man, you get me. And so he's getting me amped, and at the same time, he's talking big garbage to the competitors. Oh man, ain't no way you're gonna beat Hodge and all this. So putting pressure on them. And before I went out and made the 19 in a row, me and him was in such a almost a game mentality where we getting ready to go out here and roll on these folks. And I told him, man, I'm getting ready to go out here and make every shot. So, brother, as I was shooting, I was literally hearing the ball go through the net on the first 19. When I shot the 20th one, it felt better than the other 19 had. And that was the only one that I didn't hold my follow through. And when the ball came out, it literally surprised me that them other shots, I was just shooting by myself. I was just shooting. When the ball came out, I realized that I was in the arena with 20,000 people. And I had to get back. It kind of shook me, and I get back on my rhythm of it. And at that point, I think I made 2 out of 5 on the next rack. But in my mind, I had made them all before I went into it. And then I got out of the way of keeping my form on the 20th one. But one thing about it, brother, you know, they call it a zone, but I think of it as putting yourself, training to a degree that when the opportunity presents itself, you're prepared. But on any given day, even your preparation, you can come up short. All right, you can come up short of what and where you thought it was going to be. And then there are times when you can put out an effort and you know you're going to come up short and you exceed the expectations that you have. So what that allowed me to do was learn to get out of the way. Get out of the way. That I've trained. Now, today's the day to perform. So go do what you've been doing. And I think that's probably the easiest way to put it. And that a zone is that you working on whatever craft you've been working on. And at this moment, you're able to put it all together to get it to come out like you saw it and visualize it coming out.
Facts.
Appreciate you calling in. Appreciate you, real. Thanks, brother.
Hey.
All right, one.
Hey, Fred.
Yes.
Hey, like the last thing. Hey, look. Like that to the brother Craig Hodges. Hey, look. Like the Bills, you know what I'm saying? Like we always try to correlate it to life, right? So like with everything that Craig Hodges said, you know what I'm saying, with preparation presents opportunity. You know what I'm saying? I always tell brothers that, you know what I'm saying, like when we're building, when you prepared in life, you know what I'm saying, that's when opportunity presents itself. I just wanted to say that on closing. But I appreciate the wisdom, brother.
Thank you.
Appreciate it, Fred.
Thank you, brother.
A couple of questions, Mr. Hodges.
Yes, sir.
Can you capsulate Kobe Bryant? We went somewhere else, but you mind capsulating Kobe Bryant for us?
Man, genuine human being, brother. And much respect, man. Much respect to him in life and in death, brother, because you know, you have a chance to do things in life, and sometimes you can be blessed to find what it is that you're meant to do. Kobe found out early that basketball was going to be something that he was going to be able to do. And in doing it, we just talked about preparation. He never left no stone unturned where preparation is concerned, and that he was not going to allow another player, whether an opponent or a teammate, to be more prepared than he was, whether it be film session, whether it be whatever within the concept of what we're doing to win and bring a championship, nobody's going to outwork him. And his mindset was that we spoke about, he told me this, and it's so cool how he laid it out to me. He said, yeah, Hodge, you know, my job with this team, and that was when we was on the cusp of winning with the Lakers, and we had Pau Gasol, Lamar Odom, D Fish, and he was like, we got the crew to win, but every night I gotta have at least 8 of my guys at their greatness. And that was cool to me, because he said everybody has a different level of greatness. And in order for us to be a great team, everybody needs to feel that they're at their greatest point, and that Lamar's ain't mine and mine ain't Lamar's. But it's all of us being able to know where our greatness is at and be able to get there every night if possible. But some night I ain't gonna be able to get there, but Lamar and Powell are gonna be there. So my responsibility is to get them to see that their level of greatness, and when I can get them to see their level of greatness, mine is gonna come through even more so. I'm like, brother, that's some heavy wisdom, and I saw in that something totally different than MJ.
Wow. And speaking of difference, when I asked you the question a while back about you asking Michael Jordan to boycott, there's a piece of me that Kobe Bryant's second half of his career, he would have listened to you and probably asked you where the resources coming from. You know what I mean? It seemed like he was a very thoughtful person. So he in my humble opinion, and you're going to correct me if I'm wrong or add to it, is that he would have said, okay, Craig, you want me to do this, but where's the support around me making this decision?
Right there. And that's the part that, once again, I feel like you have a titular executive, and then you have the main joint. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that right now, the brothers are the titular executives in the NBA. But the sisters, that's what I brought to Kobe. You have the means to speak to Black women, Mexican women. You have the ability to create a safety net around you as you speak to these principles. And that safety net is going to be the ones that this ownership, they're going to have to listen to, because that's who are buying tickets.
Gotcha.
That's who are buying gym shoes. That's who are buying jerseys. That's who are buying hats. That's who are promoting us in the off season, that keeps us afloat in revenue stream.
Fact.
So all of those things, and Kobe, I mean, you think about it. His game, compartmentalized to where it's encyclopedia type thing, and it can go to any
get that
A through Z in a heartbeat. Same way on the business side of things. You can see that same type of mentality, that I know this movie's gonna happen, and I'm gonna be waiting over here to make this one and that one. And that's the part that's so cold, man, when you stop and think of what we lost, but at the same time, somebody like me, what I gained just being around the brother.
Yeah, that's amazing. By the way, do you know who Deontay Wilder is, by the chance? You follow boxing at all?
Yes.
What's your take on Deontay Wilder?
Look like he tried to punch everybody all the way through their body. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like he's going, I'm looking behind you, and I'm going to that point, but and I like, the fact that he came from where he came from, and he rose through the ranks doing what he's doing, man. He's an entertaining cat to watch. I don't know much about his stance on stuff though.
Yeah. My final question, we'll get you out of here. It's June 28th. Happy birthday. You got a lot of happy birthdays. You got a lot of gratitude in the chat. The super chats were for you to read moving forward. They just want to thank you. They want to welcome you back. This platform is your platform. Whenever you need it, whenever you want it, it's yours. Okay. And it's June 28th today is? June 28th?
Mine was yesterday.
So yeah, June 27th, 2020. What would the conversation be with Kobe today? And what would the conversation be with Michael Jordan today? With you.
Yeah. Brothers, y'all have the ability to take our people to a place where we've never been. And through your visibility, your magnetism, your charisma, and your drawing appeal, you have the ability to take this message of the history of oppression, standing up for human rights, you're able to take that to that safety net of people. The women who are conscious to what this is, you're able to take that and we won't have to look back. It's a matter of how the two of them together could be able to define a lot of things, even to the point where being able to define what the structure would be, not necessarily that they had to be within that structure, but being able to have us an infrastructure, a brick and mortar type that we know that is ours and we feel good about, man. So, you know, it will be a great discussion. Even to the point where I'm even right now, man, I want to sit down with MJ. In fact, I need to, because it's something that needs to be done, man.
Who would call you back the next day? Who was more likely to call you back the next day? Kobe. Mr. Craig Hodges, man. I gotta give you a stand up and give you a round of applause, man. I just want to say
thank you, brother. Appreciate you, man.
And
Free Huey. Free Huey. Free Huey.
Free Huey's my dude, man. Free lunch program. He don't get enough credit, man. And neither do none of the Black Panthers. And what they've done in our community today in work. Meals on Wheels, WIC program, after school program, morning program.
Man. You know, and that was one of the shaping, you know, when you're young, some of the most shaping factors in your life are those incidents that are oftentimes negative. I remember waking up, man, I think I might have been 8 or 9, and they shot up the Panthers in Chicago with Fred Hampton and Mark Clark. Oh, man, that was, you know, and for us, man, I was like, wow. And we weren't, you know, and that's the wild part. We had, the community was so covered at that period of time. We had all the way from nonviolent to revolutionary struggle and everything in between. So it was a blanket. But the one thing all of them had in common, don't mess with the children. And that has been the part that is kind of filtered away, because brothers are incarcerated, brothers being murdered, and brothers are straight up trying to get bread in this civilization, because it's capitalist society. I gotta hustle.
We appreciate you, man. Phil, you get so much, man, and they love you in the chat, man. Happy belated birthday.
Man, let my people know on the real, man. And when I say my people, a lot of times people think that I'm just talking about Black. I'm talking about us, man. This is a human family, man. And then now, if we haven't, we still know that we got to fight for the oppression of African people worldwide, and that's almost a millennial battle that goes on. But now we had a mature stage when we can reflect not on a person's hue, but a person's humanness. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm not worried about whether you red, black, white, brown, or yellow, or green. What is your position on these human rights stands? Period. Nothing else. And we good. That's why my boy John Paxson, you know, I'm giving him a shout out. You know, he gave me a call, man, and that was so cool for me to get a call from him while all this madness is going on, and his respect for me studying and sharing it with him and his family, from a stance that when I had an organizational thing, and I invited him and his son, and he brought his son out, and his son is a Marine now, and he was saying how his son always remembered that occasion, and that was something that we were fighting, trying to stop the violence in the city of Chicago. And I'm trying to unify athletes and entertainers. And I offered Impacts as one of the white brothers that came. And I always appreciated that, man. I still do, man.
Appreciate you. And then come back anytime. And I'm about to reach out to your son. And we're going to give away a couple of your books. Just sign them for us so we can give them away. You know what I mean? Appreciate you, Mr. Craig.
Right,
and come back anytime.
Everybody be blessed and stay safe. Peace, peace.
Thank you, Mr. Hodges. Appreciate you.
All right.
All right. One love.
Wow.
All right. Appreciate it. So there you have it, man. Mr. Craig Hodges, man, before there was, wow, what an interview, man. Oh, man. As I tell you guys on the super chats, when they're in between thoughts, it's difficult to read the super chat. So I always tell the guests when I bring them on, there are going to be people giving you super chats, and feel free to read it. It's going to be on the screen. If you want to stop your train of thought, you're more than welcome to. You know what I mean? And if I can get a break in between to ask it, I will. And he asked this super chat. He answered it when I asked him, the Sweet Science Examiner, when I asked him about the Martin Luther King death versus the George Floyd death. It was just phrased in a different manner, but he asked that question. I asked that question as it relates to that. So please go back on the replay and watch it. But man, thank you guys for tuning in, man. This shit is Hall of Fame worthy, dog. Hall of fucking Fame worthy, man. And I'm gonna buy 3 of his books and we're gonna give them away on the show. Somehow, some way, we're gonna make it out the hood one day. Go do your hip hop homework, man. If you need to know who wrote that song, someday, one day, we're gonna make it out the hood someday. So, anyways, man, I love y'all, man. We may or may not come back tonight because I'm supposed to go to a rally at 5:00. And but I think this is good enough, man. It can stand on its own. And no, we'll come back tomorrow. We'll come back Monday. All right. So we got an early edition of Barbershop Conversation in the Barbershop. I genuinely appreciate y'all. And I'm about to go right now and rewatch this and come back. So anyways, I love y'all, man. Oh, do y'all got anything to say? We ain't gotta. We don't have to end the show right now. But if anything, you guys want to call in? You guys want to call in and talk for a second or no? Are you guys good? You guys good? I'll open up the phone lines if anybody wants to call in. Feel free to call in. I appreciate you, champ side. Thanks, dog. Really appreciate. I appreciate everyone in the super chat, man. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, whatever we get in the super chats, that's what we're gonna buy in books. Okay. Well, I'll gladly do that and we'll give them away. All right. We'll give them away when I get them in the mail. That'll be great. I'm gonna hit Jabril up. And for those of you who don't know the story about how this interview came to fruition, I 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, the phone lines are open. Okay, 2 or 3 weeks ago, I called a former NBA player. I'm not gonna call his name out. Matter of fact, 70% of the people with my phone now were former NBA players, right? And I'm 42. And I said, hey, can you get me Craig Hodges' number? I know he can get it. I know he can get Craig Hodges' number. He didn't call me back. So I said, you know what? Fuck it. So I was listening to the DJ Vlad interview. And the last thing he said was to DJ Vlad was get in contact with my son. And I was like, hold up. I've seen his son play. Let me get in contact with his son. And so I go to Vince, the body snatcher, Vince Camper. And I go to his Instagram and I realize that they follow each other. And I'm like, holy cow. Holy cow. So I call Vince in 0.5 seconds. I said, Vince, can you get me in touch with Jabril? He's like, sure, no problem. I'll get it for you by the end of the day. And long story short, Jabril is a supporter of the Barbershop Conversations. He quoted me from the things that I've said years ago. He quoted me from things that I said, and I said, "Oh shit, I appreciate the support." So you never know who's supporting you, who's behind you. The phone lines are open, and so that's how this interview came together in 36 hours. Because I spoke to him on Friday evening, Friday late afternoon, and then now Sunday at noon we have the great Craig Hodges in the interview. So the lines are open. I just reset them. So feel free to call in, and we'll do it like that. So yeah, we'll do it like that. I see y'all calling in. I see DB, but it didn't ring that time, but it should ring this time. So that's really how this interview came to fruition. And honestly,
Welcome to the show.
welcome to the show. I love that intro. What's popping, huh, big homie?
Man, wow, that was a great fucking interview, dude.
Yeah, it was awesome. He's great.
That was great. Yeah, man, I gotta give you on that one, man. I didn't expect that, knowing that was gonna be NBA player. But damn, most of the NBA players you've been bringing on here have been well-rounded, conscious, free-minded type people. So, but Craig Hodges stepped it up another level, just same way as who was up? Polonice was on there as well. But man, it's been absolutely a great interview. I thought it was going to be more about his championship runs with Jordan, and it kind of got more into a higher elevation and and speak. I appreciate the hell out of that.
Yeah, it was astounding. I didn't know where it was going, but I saw him perk up about the about black people, and I said we got to keep it here. You know what I mean? You saw his energy kind of just go through the screen. I'm like, why are we gonna? Ain't no sense talking about Michael Jordan anymore. You know what I mean? He want to talk about his people. You know what I mean? And I thought it was that's where the interview should have stayed. You know?
Yeah, absolutely, man. That was some great shit right there. And I'm gonna go back and rewatch that a second time.
Me too.
Encore that.
Me too. Do you want more?
Yeah, man. Straight up encore, man.
Oh man, I appreciate you, big homie. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we're one of the same. And you going live at 7, right?
Yeah, but I'm doing one on aviation, man, because aviation is my field.
Okay.
My field of interest, and I want to do some shit on that, like business, the business side of airport management, what goes into operation of airlines and shit like that.
We'll be watching.
Number type.
We'll be watching. We'll be watching.
Okay.
I'm going from Drew Titan to you, so we'll be watching.
Right.
And take your time because I'm not coming on at 9, so take your time.
Okay, I thought going at 7 because I'm still putting it together.
Okay, for sure.
I'm a procrastinator when it comes to putting shit together.
Okay, for sure.
All right.
Appreciate
but yeah, let me open them lines up. That shit was great right there.
I appreciate you, big homie.
For sure.
All right, one. Yeah, man, this interview was fucking amazing, dog. Let's rewatch it. Please share the video, dog. Share the video, man. Share it. Edit it out. Share it. Put it on your Facebook, your Instagram. People got to hear Craig Hodges, man.
Welcome to the show.
What's up, 314?
Hey, what's up, Fred, man? Real quick, that was a great interview, dog. Tip my hat to you, bro. You is a journalist at its finest.
Oh, that's love, dog.
Right on. Hey, but I wanted to ask a question. I meant to call in to the brother and ask him. Y'all had spoke on the Panthers, and I just want to know, was it propaganda? Did they turn drug dealers, or was that the Black Gorilla, or am I mixing shit up?
We'll do a show on that. We'll do a show on the Black Panther Party. I think we need to do a show on that, and because I'm going to give you how they infiltrated the Black Panther Party. And my teammate in college, mother was a Black Panther. So I know a lot of the Black Panther, and you know Muhammad was a Black Panther as well. So we're gonna talk about that in its totality because I don't want to give you half the story because I got to go back and revisit it. But it was a sham how they did Huey P. Newton. You know what I mean? And
that was my man. So if you could help me clear that up.
Yeah, we will. We will. I promise you. But before the end of the year, we'll do it because I got to get I got to get the people who knows the true story, who I heard the information from, to tell the story. So I got to line them up on a day. You know what I mean? So yeah. Oh yeah. Check out Bobby Seale's unsung interview. Yeah, check that out. Yeah, it was good.
I'm gonna check that out today. Matter of fact, when I hang off, I'm gonna check that out right now.
Yeah. Please check that out.
All
right, appreciate you. Yeah, we need to talk about that. You know what I mean? So, so that's where we're at, man. Triple OG, you want to call in? Feel free to call in. Yeah, I saw you. I pushed you because he beat you by a split second. So, yeah, Bobby Seals, we got to get him. Yeah, we definitely got to get him. As a matter of fact, Muhammad, who is my liaison, who is my bridge to a lot of my guests that I come on, he's the bridge to a lot of them as it relates to moving and advocating and doing stuff like that. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's yeah, I'm gonna work on Bobby Seals. I'll work on him for sure. So I will get it done like that. Where we at? We good? Triple OG, you calling in? Are we done? DB, call in. Where you at, big homie? Call in. So you can co-host till we get to the end of the show. Damn, that was a great interview, dog. Fuck. Dog, man, I'm sitting there like, 24 people have it. Hit the like button. Hit the like button, dog. Hit the like button.
Welcome to the show.
Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Smash the like button. It's free. What's up, DB? No one else calling.
Welcome to the show.
Isn't that shit dope?
Damn, you deaf Negroes. I like those back to back.
Okay. Which one should be first? Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
Okay, welcome to the show. And then that one. Okay, let's go. We got Triple OG calling in.
So, all you scared to death Negroes.
What's popping, Triple OG?
All right. I didn't want to call in and spoil the interview because I wanted to go, damn, Craig, that's all you know about Deontay Wilder? It's more to him knocking somebody's ass. But then I said, and then when he spoke on Kyrie, I said, wow, maybe he didn't know what motivated Kyrie. Maybe he didn't look to see what's going on with Kyrie when he found out his heritage, that he was Native American. Did you see that YouTube video on Kyrie?
I haven't yet. I have yet to see it now.
Yeah, when he met his family. That's why I didn't say nothing. I said, maybe they didn't. I said, maybe Fred didn't see it either. I forget how busy you are sometimes. You're a busy guy.
Oh, appreciate that.
Yeah, and you don't sleep a lot either. I give you about 4 hours tops. How many hours you sleep?
About that, because Kennedy wakes me up.
Oh,
Kennedy wakes me up.
Well, there you go, and that's what they're supposed
Every
to do. Because I
morning.
always told people I believe sleep was overrated. So, but anyway, that's all I had to say. And hopefully, you will tell him, or maybe he'll go look and see that there's more to Deontay Wilder than this boxing. Like it was more to basketball than it was Craig Hodges.
And I didn't phrase the question so we can go in depth either, because I knew we was ending the interview. You know what I mean? So I didn't phrase it as to.
Oh, but that was okay.
Yeah,
that was okay. It was organic. It went the way it was supposed to go. That's why I didn't call in. I said, okay, I'll just call when he's gone.
Okay, got you.
Because you know I don't have no questions. That's why I said, no, this ain't a good one. All right, I'm back in the chat.
Appreciate you all the time, big homie. Yeah. Go ahead, DB, wrap it up. All yours.
Man, that was fire. That was fire. You know, when I first started, I was like, all right, cool. I started running all the questions through my head. You know what I'm saying? And I got this, a guest over here, you know what I'm saying, who was a fan of basketball too. And she was like, oh yeah, ask him this, ask him that. And so I had about 15, 20 basketball questions. But as soon as he started dropping gems about life, I immediately dropped all those questions about basketball, and I just wanted to listen.
Yeah.
You know, I remember my uncle telling me back in the day, he said, if you want to know something about a female, like if you want to get in, he was like, sometimes you got to just shut up and just listen and let them talk for 30 minutes, because they will.
Yeah.
When they talk, you will learn a lot.
Facts.
About what you have to say after that, if you have to say anything at all. Look, she over here smiling. You know what I'm saying? But that's been the strategy, you know, shut up and sit back and listen. And that was, you know, it was great. This was a Hall of Fame session and a Hall of Fame chat, you know, so I know at a certain point we had only about 24 people, which ain't a great number. I mean, it's a great number. It's a great number, Kobe, but that's not a huge number. But man, we got 24 people that should smash that like button real quick. You know, because everybody got to have this in the archive. We got to run this back in another 3 or 4 months.
Facts.
You know what I mean? And like Fred said, man, we can chop this up and share it with some folks.
Yeah,
you know,
please do.
And the each one teach one. That's what it's all about. That was my takeaway from this right here. You know. Anyway, man, shout out to Lonnie DiCarlo and my cousin Donald Simpson Jr. for their super chats, man, and their financial support to the barbershop.
That's love.
Yeah. That was major love. Brother G Brown, Jason G, P Good, and J Good, the Good brothers, always got the chat live, man, with good stuff. Tony Snow has some good commentary too, and my brother Mr. Vegas. And yeah, man. So you know, I got me So at the end of the show, I'd say, play the song, Fred. You want to say it? Boy, see, they never want to say it. You know, they want to sit in the background and watch me listen to the show and do the show and don't want to say it. You can say it. Just say, play the song. Okay. People get shy over the phone. That trips me out.
or hang up.
Yeah, no. One day, look, now she mad at me because I'm saying one day somebody else gonna be over here and they gonna want to scream it into the phone. Oh man, it is what it is.
Appreciate you, big homie. Appreciate you, big homie. Great day in the barbershop, yo. Great day. We had to come in a little early because the barbershop closed sometimes early on Sunday, man. Appreciate you, Yolanda. Aaron Jones, Sun Lion, man. Alane, Mark Wunderlich, Triple OG, Lane, Triple R, Double R, Real Rap, Aaron Jones. Lawan, appreciate you. Jason G. Brown, Sunline, I appreciate you, big homie. Reg, take your time tonight, all right? Take your time. Lane, man, I appreciate you, sir. Don't forget, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Drew is coming on. And 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we got Reggie Owens. And Champside goes on an hour before that, all right? So 6 p.m. So once y'all go to there and set your what do you call that shit? Announcements, whatever. But sing this shit in the meantime.
Cause the devil is a liar. I'm telling you the truth. Hey. It's only what you do. Hey. Some things you gotta do. Hey, 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 hey.
That's it, man. When much expected, much is given. I appreciate y'all, man. This was an awesome show. Had the kids and everything. You know what I mean? It's funny how you have a conversation with your kids. I'm like, okay, Lincoln and Kennedy. I'm about to do an interview in the office. Okay, I set up the iPads. I set up the toys. I set up the snacks. You set up the water. You like, okay, so you go through this progression with the kids. 15 minutes later, they come running in doing what they're like. It never works, dog. It never works. I feel me and Reggie Owens share that pain, dog. Oh, man, it never works, dog. Man, I had everything set up before this interview. Everything set up, dog. Anyways, man, I love y'all, man. This was a hell of a show, man. We'll be back tomorrow night, 9 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And I love y'all, man. And it was like a great show. I can't wait to rewatch it. And I love y'all. We out this month. I got to go to work. Appreciate y'all. Peace.